You're listening to a Nite Muse media production. Tonight we return to the lost art of radio storytelling. Close your eyes if you like, and let the theater of the mind begin. Your host, John Robinson.
This is the tale of how the raccoon got his coat. Long before Raccoon had his striped tail, long before he wore that black little bandit's mask, there was a time when he looked very different indeed. In those days, Raccoon was silver. He was sleek and shining from the tip of his nose to the end of his tail, smooth as moonlight on a river. He admired his reflection whenever he found it in still water. He walked with the confident little swagger of someone who believed the forest itself ought to appreciate him more. And perhaps the worst part was he was clever enough to get away with most things. Now one night, after hunting beneath the trees and moving quietly through the dark, Raccoon was making his way home when he passed the house of Raven. And Raven, as many of you know, was no fool, but Raven did have one weakness. He liked beautiful things, shiny things, rare things, things that did not belong to him nearly as much as he believed they did. As Raccoon passed by Raven's home, he glanced through the opening and saw Raven just inside. And there, not far from him, tucked away in a trunk for safekeeping, were 5 beautiful silver rings, smooth, polished, and perfect. And the moment Raccoon saw them, his heart made a decision his good sense never even got to vote on. He wanted those rings. Not one, but all 5. And now perhaps he told himself Raven had stolen them first. Perhaps he reasoned that taking from a thief was not really stealing. Perhaps he simply looked at those 5 shining rings and thought, well, those would look much better in my possession. So Raccoon made a plan. Later that night, when the forest grew dark and quiet, Raccoon prepared himself. He put on a mask to hide his face. Then he lit a torch and held it beneath his chin. Now, if you've never seen a creature trying to look terrifying by holding fire under its own face, let me assure you it's dramatic. But to Raven, peering out into the darkness, the figure must have looked strange indeed. Raccoon crept to Raven's window and began to make eerie sounds like ooh, ooh. He groaned and moaned and let the firelight throw shadows over his hidden face. His plan was simple enough. Frighten Raven, send him running, snatch the rings, and disappear into the night. Except Raven did not do the polite thing and flee in terror. No, Raven burst right out of the house to confront the intruder. That's the problem with clever opponents. They refuse to behave according to your script. So Raccoon had to improvise. He backed away, still making those ghostly sounds, and led Raven off into the woods, deeper, away from the house, away from the silver rings. Raven followed, searching among the trees, listening for the strange voice in the dark. And the moment Raven was far enough away, Raccoon slipped silently back. He hurried to the house, opened Raven's trunk, and there they were. The 5 rings were even finer up close than he had imagined, cool and bright in the moonlight. He reached for them eagerly, but then another problem appeared. He could carry the torch, or he could carry the rings. But he could not easily carry all 5 rings and the torch and still make a quick escape. For one tiny moment, perhaps the universe offered him a final chance to reconsider, a chance to say, this has become too complicated, maybe I should leave. But Raccoon was not built for that kind of wisdom. Then he looked down and saw his tail, long and silver and narrow enough, and there in that mischievous little mind of his an idea clicked. One by one, he slid the 5 silver rings onto his tail, and with that he ran off into the night. When Raven returned home, he quickly noticed the trunk had been moved. He opened it, saw the rings were gone, and knew immediately that he had been tricked. And Raven was angry. Not the loud kind of angry. Worse, the sharp, quiet kind. The kind that starts asking questions. First, Raven went to see Bear. Have you seen my silver rings? Bear had not seen them. Then he went and asked Owl and Eagle and Chipmunk, but none of them knew anything. At last, Raven went to Raccoon's house. "Hello, Raccoon," said Raven. Raccoon frowned. "I was sleeping, Raven. What do you want?" "Well, somebody has taken 5 silver rings from me," Raven said. "Do you know anything about that?" Raccoon didn't hesitate. "No, I don't. Let me go back to sleep." "Are you sure?" Raven asked. I'm certain, said Raccoon, and I'm tired. Why don't you let me alone? Raven apologized. He thanked Raccoon, and as Raccoon turned to go back inside, Raven saw them. 5 dark rings of tarnish circling Raccoon's tail. Not bright silver anymore, not hidden, but just there, plain as moonrise. Aha, Raven cried. It was you! And there was no use pretending after that. Raccoon stopped, lowered his head, and admitted everything. Yeah, he had scared Raven. Yeah, he took the rings. And yeah, he slipped them onto his tail to carry them away. He apologized and hoped that might be enough, but Raven did not think so. From now on, Raven said, you will bear the marks of what you've done. Your face will show the mask you used to hide yourself. Your hands will be blackened by the soot from your torch. Your tail will always carry the tarnished rings of what you stole. And from that day on, Raccoon was changed exactly that way. No longer all silver, no longer smooth and shining from nose to tail. Instead, he wore his story wherever he went. The mask, the dark hands, the ringed tail. Now it's said that Raccoon never stole from Raven again. But he did not exactly retire from mischief. Even now, Raccoon comes in the night, peering into camps, porches, barns, backyards, with the same old ambition in his heart, still convinced that whatever you left unattended was probably meant for him. And if you ever catch sight of him in the firelight, that striped tail behind him, that black mask across his face, those dark little hands already suspiciously involved in something, you'll know exactly why he wears that coat. Because long ago, Raccoon stole what was not his. And the night never lets him forget it.